Republicans had disastrous results up and down the ballot in last night's primaries. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video, and today it is time to do a post-mortem of last night's primaries because everyone... I don't usually say this often, but last night was a complete and total disaster. I mean, really. Outside of one, maybe two races, we had complete failure up and down the ballot. And some of the defeats we suffered last night, you could argue, are some of the biggest L's of the cycle. Yeah, bigger than Darren Bailey losing, bigger than Tony Gonzalez winning. It was a disastrous night across the board. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Again, folks, all support is greatly appreciated, and yeah. Now, let us get into it, and frankly, let's start with the only W of last night, Hun Cal. Hun Cal was, in my opinion, the best choice of the Virginia Senate race, and well, he won in a landslide. I mean, he got 61% of the vote. And many people were claiming that, oh, he was running a terrible campaign. Yeah, so terrible that he got 61% of the vote. Now, granted, he was a Trump-endorsed candidate, but even before that, I was supporting him. I always thought that after his near victory in Virginia 10th in 2022, Hun Cal should have been the nominee from the get-go, and I'm glad that he won. He won by a lot, and it's clear that he did good across the entire Commonwealth, not just in Nova. He did good in Appalachia. Hell, Virginia Beach he did very good in. But of course, he did best in Loudoun County, because that's where he's from. And he got 79% of the vote here. He did great across the board, and the Republican Party is unified behind Hun Cal. And I did not expect him to win by this much. I thought he was going to win, but I thought at the bare minimum, because not enough people are talking about this race, that it would have been much closer. But it really wasn't. It was a landslide for Hun Cal. Outside of this, however, this was a complete disaster in Virginia. Now, let us segue into Virginia 7th, because this was a massive L. Now, not the biggest L of the night, but Derek Anderson's a shitty candidate. People gotta understand that he sucks. Look him up. He's not good on the issues. There's a lot of question marks surrounding him. Either way, Cameron Hamilton was the conservative choice here, and he lost. Now, I'm not saying that either candidate's going to win this November, all right? But it's still crappy that we got stuck with Derek Anderson. To give you perspective as to how bad he is, he got endorsed by the Washington Post. Yeah, the Washington Post endorsed Derek Anderson, at least in the Republican primary. That single endorsement should tell you everything about this race. The fact that the Washington Post supported a supposed Republican, that's never usually a good thing. That's usually a Liz Cheney type of Republican that they're backing. Now, as for the general, I highly doubt that we're going to win in the 7th. Now, I know Eugene Vindman, the resist lib candidate on the Democrat side, apparently he's a super weak guy. Apparently he has no clue what the hell happens in the district. He doesn't know what cities are in the district. I don't know for certain about this guy, but either way, we could have gotten the more conservative choice here. I'm not saying either candidate would have won, but it still stinks that we're stuck with Derek Anderson. The guy is crap. But sadly, this isn't where the L's stop. In fact, let's just go to Georgia real quick. And we really didn't have much happen here. We had a couple of runoffs, but the fact that we were rooting for Brian Jack in Georgia 3rd is a disgrace. For those that don't know, Brian Jack is awful. There's a lot of sketchy stuff surrounding him, and well, we supported him because somehow his opponent was 20 times worse. The fact that we have some primaries in deep red seats, we're not talking about swing districts, but a deep Republican district in Georgia 3rd. The fact that we're getting stuck with Brian Jack types because the alternative is somehow worse, that's pathetic. You know, in the other races, it doesn't really matter because, well, these races in Georgia, no one cares about. No one was talking about them. In Oklahoma, I mean, Tom Cole did kind of bad, considering he only got 65% of the vote. But outside of that, and maybe a couple primaries down the ballot, which I looked into, there were some victories for conservatives, but it wasn't that substantial. It's not warranting a whole discussion on it. There were some victories here and there, but not like what we saw in Texas a couple weeks ago. Not what we saw in, like, North Dakota and South Dakota. You know, it really wasn't that big of a wave for conservatives. But you might be asking yourselves, okay, why is this such a disastrous night? Because, you know, Virginia 7th, that's an L. We had to root for Brian Jack and Georgia 3rd. In Oklahoma, we had some victories, but nothing warranting a discussion. What's so bad about last night? This primary right here is why last night was a complete disaster. Now, we don't know for certain who actually won in Virginia 5th. But, as of now, John McGuire is going to take down Bob Good. You know, Bob Good is one of the most conservative Republicans in the House. Yeah, we are about to lose one of the best in the House because of Trump's ego. There, I said it. Listen, I'm still voting for Trump no matter what. These people that are saying we're not going to vote for Trump because of this endorsement, they're dumb. But I have the right to critique when Trump makes a dumbass decision. And this right here is one of those moments that he made a stupid decision. So you're telling me, with a straight face, you protected Mike Bost in Illinois. You protected Tony Gonzalez in Texas. All right? Which, fine. It's one thing to say, well, we can't primary out every incumbent. Fine. The fact that you focused everything you had on Bob Good, who, by the way, is one of the most conservative House reps in Congress right now. Easily. The fact that you primaried him out, but saved Tony Gonzalez indirectly. Hell, you saved Mike Bost with a direct endorsement. But you decided, okay, my main target this cycle is Bob Good. Yeah, his number one target was Bob Good. He did like 15 tele-rallies here. He did a bunch of stuff for John McGuire. It was the Liz Cheney race all over again. But with Liz Cheney, she was so bad that everyone agreed that, yeah, get her out of here. She was awful. And you got a good replacement in Hagman. But here, you go from an S-tier congressman in Bob Good to John McGuire. Look him up. Look up his vote on child marriage. I'm not even kidding when I said that. That should tell you everything about John McGuire. It's one of those big government bad Republicans. Again, me saying Bob Good was the more conservative choice here and Trump made a dumbass decision does not make me a never Trumper. It doesn't. The people that are saying that, oh, we are going to support Biden or not support Trump because of Bob Good, fine. They're never Trumpers. They're delusional. But I want Trump to be the best he can be. And supporting people like John McGuire over Bob Good is stupid. Now, let's be clear. The only reason that Trump endorsed against Bob Good wasn't the DeSantis endorsement. That's the smokescreen. That's the bullshit excuse. The real reason that he endorsed John McGuire was because of Taylor Greene being kicked out of the Freedom Caucus. That's the reality of it. And that should tell you everything that, hey, Taylor Greene is having direct influence on Trump's endorsements. Not on policy, but based off of personal grievances. That's a reality. That's true. Look it up. The DeSantis stuff, that's the excuse they're giving. That's not actually why he endorsed John McGuire. It's because Bob Good was the chair of the Freedom Caucus when Taylor Greene got kicked out. Now, I've heard some stuff with Bob Good behind the scenes. Apparently, he's not a good leader. He's not a good chairman. He's an asshole, apparently. I don't know if that's real. But if he's not good as chair, just make him resign from the chair position. Don't get rid of him because of Taylor Greene. Because you're going from an S-tier conservative to possibly an F-tier conservative. What does that tell you? Trump's got to wake up because this is pissing me off. Now, to be clear, we don't know who actually won, and last night was a complete disaster. by the New York Times. I mean, we had weird results out of Danville where there was like 10,000 votes for McGuire, and it went back to 0, then it was 10,000 again, then it was 0, 10,000. And this percentage reporting was bullshit the entire night. It went from 95% back down to 70%. Then it went to 80%, back down to 70. It did that like 15 times. No one knew, or even at this point knows, what's left. And that's why we cannot make a call officially, but I think McGuire is the favorite. But we do got outstanding votes out of Lynchburg and areas that are more favorable for Bob Good. So Good has a pathway still. That's why they haven't called it. We have no clue what the hell's actually left. Because it seems like every 5 minutes, they made a mistake. You know, each county, you know, oh, we miscounted it or some bullshit like that. No one knows. So we're not going to know for a while, more than likely. This is a close race. It's 100% going into a recount. We have no clue who's actually won. I hope Bob Good could pull it off, but I don't think he will. I think we're about to lose Bob Good because of Taylor Greene. Trump's got to realize that Taylor Greene is not doing this for policy. She's doing it because of pettiness. That's a fact. That's what's happening here. Because if it wasn't about pettiness and about policy, why would you support John McGuire? Listen, if you found someone even more conservative than Bob Good, that's one thing. But to replace Bob Good with John McGuire? An establishment Republican that thinks the government's bad or some crap like that? It's like, no. Just because Bob Good was the chair of the Freedom Caucus doesn't make him a rhino. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I think Trump's making a big mistake. He is pissing off the House Freedom Caucus. Now, some of the House Freedom Caucus, they were not happy with Bob Good. Fine. But if you endorse against every single one of their candidates, like not just one of them, but every single one of them, because, oh, they said they're going to be part of the Freedom Caucus, that's going to piss them off. It's like, okay, dude, it's one thing to support against one of our candidates, you know, one or two of them, but every single one of them? Just because the House Freedom Caucus label, that's your strategy? But we just got to see what happens in this race. I hope Bob Good pulls it off, but it's not looking good. And I really hope Trump turns it around ASAP when it comes to endorsements, because let's face it, this could very well be his final chance at getting change in the House. Because when 2026 rolls around, it's more than likely to be a blue wave, okay? And even then, at that point, is Trump's influence going to be as much as it is now? Like, of course he's going to be the president, but people are going to know that, hey, you're gone in 2 years. Maybe we don't have to listen to what you say about endorsements. We don't have to support your candidates. That's the reality of it. That's the Republican Party. So I hope Trump could turn it around somehow, but I don't think he will, because for whatever reason, he's listening to Marjorie Taylor Greene's advice on endorsements. Again, Taylor Greene 3 years ago understood what the base wanted. She understood who was a rhino, who was a conservative. But now, she's a shill for the establishment, and she's whispering to Trump's ear about, oh, you should support John McGuire because Bob Good's a rhino. No. She's supporting John McGuire because she's not only petty, but because that's what Kevin McCarthy said to do. I guarantee you, if there was a serious challenger to Matt Gaetz, Taylor Greene would say to Trump, hey, you should endorse against Matt Gaetz because he's a rhino. I guarantee it, she would try to pull that crap. That's why everyone should ignore Taylor Greene. And this is what I'm saying also, just because Trump endorsed someone, that doesn't mean that's a conservative pick. It just means Trump endorsed someone. That doesn't mean squat. This should prove it. Again, some endorsements are good. Okay, fine. But just because he endorsed someone doesn't mean you should vote for them. In the general, maybe, but in the primary, if there's a more conservative pick, pick them. Don't pick Trump's pick because it's Trump. Pick the candidate that's good on the issues. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.